Failure to warn cost lives. The Beatles, Russia, US government, Britain are all to blame for the Beatles' refusal to testify about what really happened in favor of making up a story and bringing in gold diggers and blotting it all out as best they can. They tried to destroy the evidence and cover for Trump and Reagan. Well, so there we are. This tape is about why I don't trust Joe Biden, why I don't believe Joe Biden. It's not just that he's soft on Israelis, but he and RFK both subscribe to the idea of an arc based on ethnicities rather than public education that can help the masses cooperate in a situation where the powerful few are pushing ecocide. The arc is a convenience for the ecocidalists. Now, why I don't believe Joe Biden is more than just the delaying tactic, the covering for the crime, the refusal to help Mackenzie Shirilla. There's a lot of reasons I don't trust Joe. His pussy balling with Obama, his corporation tactics with the Jeffens, his refusal to understand what's really needed in relations with Russia, his appointment of a parameter for catastrophic warfare of a meat grinder nature. There's more to it than that. The reason I don't trust Joe Biden is he expects the American people to lie to themselves. That's what he expects. And he's setting an example. He says, come, lie to yourself the way I'm lying to myself. Imitate me as I lie to myself. That's good old Telltality Joe. He lies to himself about Reagan. He lies to himself about the ability of the American people to see through Dr. Fauci's schemes. He lies to himself about what the Russian people really needed when the Berlin Wall came down. But most importantly, he expects his lies to himself to be believed. That's what really galls me. There's a story out of Denmark where a man with a fishing boat crew of 10 men is joined by two newbies. They were in the process of planning to help evacuate Jews to Sweden because of commando raids coming the very next day by Germans. The two new men were unclear in their loyalties, so the skipper of the ship arranged for a pistol without any bullets in it to be given to the frightened Jewish refugees who've never handled a pistol before in their lives. And he said, we're going to make for a different route, and we want you to stick us up and force us to go to Sweden. And as the time came, the men all threw their hands up before the Jew had pulled out the pistol. And the Jewish refugee, shaking and trembling, nearly dropped the pistol as he recited his lines. Luckily for them, it turned out that the two men on board were sympathetic to rescuing the Jews. Joe Biden believes that undercover operations are that transparent. They're not. When you go in too deep, you're desperate. You have to mingle. You have to put on a facade. You have to make yourself very vulnerable. He expects people to pull out the uh, gold star on their forehead they got at police academy and say, hey, look at me, I'm an undercover detective in the most desperate of hours. That's what he expects. He expects you to believe that cocaine, his agent, planted on me. No, they didn't even plant on me. She pulled it out and I tasted it to see what it was. How did I know? Well, the reason I knew was because a man who broke my sister's ribs cajoled me in tears as a child because they were saying pussy and all this stuff in tears to try it. When I verified what it was, I left. I said, you doing this because of this? Stupid Joe. thinks we're all as stupid as he is. He's not stupid. He knew what they were doing. They were covering for the AIDS attack by implicating me so that they could punish undercover investigation. That's why I don't believe it. He's been up to this for a long time, punishing undercover investigation. I can't even type the text of a document that proves Mackenzie Sherrill's innocence. Proves it. Proves the existence of neurohypnosis and neurochemical hypnosis from the Mackenzies in the Tower of Learning, from whom she was poached as a demonstration project. Can't even type it because they punished me for my journalism by giving me Parkinson's. It took years to pry that archive out of microfilm librarians in Pittsburgh. They didn't want to send it to me. They didn't want to give it up. They didn't want to see me emerge from 2 years of homelessness with the evidence that I was tortured by the State Board of Corrections as a very little child. Joe Biden couldn't stand for that. So he sent in an agent carrying cocaine and said, it's my fault. I crossed the red line by tasting it to see if it was real. Is he insane? He's the betrayer of every police detective who ever lived, if he persists in that. I'm warning you, Joe. I will make your name go down for it. Wise up. I was doing undercover detection work as a journalist from Pitt News, and I was productive. And you can weasel a tunnel and you can pretend I didn't trip them up, and you can say, I stand in your path, Curry, because I'm one of them. And that's over. We can't do anything about it because Joe Biden was behind the sun. Don't expect me to lie for you, Biden. That's why I don't trust you. It's because you can't tell the truth.